Okay. Hello everyone, can you all hear me well? Yes, I can see shakes of the head, good. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for tuning into our very first webinar. I'd like to acknowledge and recognise that we're on Aboriginal land here. Wongal country is where Gunawirra resides. I'd like to acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. Acknowledge any Aboriginal or Torres Strait person that's tuning in and listening in at the moment. Acknowledge my sisters that are sitting here with me today. Yeah, look, let us never lose sight of the fact that Australia sovereignty belongs to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And yeah, look, like I said, this is our very first webinar. We're very excited that we've been able to put this together. Katrina, our brilliant young social worker, has just stepped out, is the person that put most of this together, but I'd like to thank the two people sitting opposite me for tuning in and coming in and sharing what culture is for us and how it heals us. You know, so look, I'm Graham. I'm the CEO here at Gunawirra. I'm blessed to have the job I have, blessed to have the people around me, people who are committed, dedicated, and passionate for Gunawirra and to helping Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children, families, and communities. So yeah, like the next 2 hours, we want to share with you what culture provides to us, share our stories, share our pain, share our fears, share our hopes and dreams. Brendan Kieran, who's a mad Yiddigi player, will be joining in a bit later. He's running a bit late. It's ironic, eh? Today it's raining in Sydney. Rain to our people's cleansing. So it's fitting that we're having this webinar and our ancestors are providing that cleansing around us today. So I'd also like to acknowledge my people. I belong to the Warramunga clan of the Wiradjuri Nation of Western New South Wales. I also belong to Wanjayaban country in Western New South Wales. I acknowledge my ancestors. They're the ones that bring me and take me through my life, and they brought me here safely today and healthy. Well, a little bit healthy sometimes. I'm an old fella now, so but look, yeah, thank you all for joining in. These guys will introduce themselves, where they come from, and share with what healing provides to us. So without any further ado, I'd like you to meet Eve White. So it's over to Eve. Eve.
Thanks, Graham. Hi, everyone. So good to be here with you today. I am a Wiradjuri woman as well. So before I go on, I just wanted to acknowledge where I'm meeting you on this land here today, the Wongal land, and I just want to pay my respects to the elders that have paved the way for us here, and to acknowledge anyone here with us today who's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, and to just take a minute to acknowledge the deep connection to the land, to the sky, to the seas, and to all of the animals and everything that is alive and thriving. And what I love to do when I come to a space and connect with country, is I'll do here with my, just like to give you guys a leaf. And just maybe pretend you have a leaf as well. I've got some tea tree leaves here, eucalyptus, this one's baby leaf. And so just to crack the leaf, bend into it, and then go into the essence of this leaf. And if you can, everyone here, just take a moment to just close down your eyes and just start to focus on your breath. So just notice the breath as it comes in and out of the nose. And if you have a little dream or a prayer or an intention, whatever that might feel best for you to word it, it might be a dream you have for the future, a prayer for someone in your life, or just an intention that you can place behind every word that you say. And connect in with that now. And even just take a moment to connect in with the land that you're meeting us on today. Whatever land that is, you can always look it up later. And take another deep inhale. And as you exhale, just release anything that no longer serves you. And they say that once we live somewhere for over 7 years, that then hopefully that land will welcome you into the spirit of that land. And so super important to think about when we're teaching, children who are born in areas where their heritage is not from, but they still end up having this deep connection to that land that they've been born on, that place of birth. As we've all sort of moved all around Australia. And so another thing that I like to do with these leaves, I teach yoga, and I'm here at Gunawirra supporting the mothers group here. So during lockdown, instead of coming to meet the moms here at Gunawirra, we would meet via Zoom, and we'd jump on, and I'd either do some meditation with them or yoga, or we did one session where we jumped on and we each kind of shared something that we were grateful for that day, and maybe something that we had been sort of working on that we were finding challenging for ourselves. And so that was a really powerful way for us to just connect when we weren't seeing each other in the flesh and blood. And we just had our first session with them last week, actually, where we all kind of came together. It was really nice to see everyone. We planted some natives in the garden, and all the kids got in the dirt and got their hands in the dirt. And I think that, when we're now living in this like fast-paced modern day world, to just have moments in the day where kids have their shoes off and their feet are in the earth, just being able to give them that connection to the earth is so important for the health on a huge holistic level. When we connect really with the dirt, we get to get all the bacteria from the dirt, and if it goes in our mouth, even better, to create some more good bacteria in our guts. And then also just with, like I was saying, that earthing, that connection with earth, and really, planting a seed, like Gunawirra means when we plant a seed and we nurture it and we help it grow, when we put our energy and our intention and we water it, and, we watch it grow like we do with, the kids that we bring into this world or we care for. So the other thing I wanted to just show you is, it's been really good to do this in my sessions during this time when we're not allowed to touch each other. So usually, like after a yoga session, I go and sort of adjust people, and now what I do is I take leaves with me. Maybe, who wants to be swept here? Does anyone want to have a sleeping? When we use gum leaves, and we use them from our area, traditionally you would use gum leaves as part of the ceremony when you would sort of travel from maybe your country to another person's country, and you might have like essence of your country on you. These days, when we live in this modern day world, we have from all our computers and our screens electromagnetic fields. So this is a good way of kind of cleaning that up. So do you want to speak in your ears? Do you want to stand up? So I do this when people are laying down, but also you can do it standing up.
I'll find someone thinking.
And you kind of get into all the hard current places as well.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So in Wiradjuri country, where I come from, it's let's go to the stage now. Welcome. We use fire and fire ceremony as well as part of a way of connecting with the earth, and also, you know, connecting with spirits that were there and sort of cleansing that area. I always find these similarities in the sort of yoga practice that I do, and how there we burn incense, or we burn sage, or we burn Palo Santo to do the same thing, really. And so what I find interesting is that we take something from someone else's country and we bring it over to Australia, and it's not going to have the same essence. It's not going to have necessarily the same effect because it's from somewhere else. And so Gemstone, actually in Melbourne, she shared with me that she uses the base of the plant. It's the worst name that it's known as. I don't know the technical name, but I think it's called Black Boy, as it's a controversial name. But part of that, you take part of that and you burn, which is kind of like your Palo Santo. I don't know if anyone's seen that. And you can burn that and use that as well. But even more simple, just one leaf, you know, to burn a leaf and just to do a little cleansing. So with smoking ceremonies, you know, it's not really for everyone to do. It's really, like in this area, I think it's more male would do a smoking ceremony, a more male elder from that area. Different clans would have different practices, and you know, you always want to be careful with things like this, just to sort of get permission to do these practices, especially if you're not from that land. So yeah, for me, really to be able to bring this healing of this, you know, hundreds and thousands of years old, this culture, we don't even know how old it is, but to be able to bring this essence of this into our modern day world is really paramount right now. I think that we're at this point, you know, right now in humanity where we're not allowed to necessarily be around other people. So, you know, if we can take some of these practices of, whether it just be sitting in nature by yourself with a tree, and we can do this right now, even though we're not outside, but this practice of Dadirri, I don't know if anyone's heard of Dadirri. It's a word, a word really gifted to us by Miriam Rose. I was actually meant to be up there at the Dadirri River with her, doing a retreat with her. And she brought this word Dadirri, and with such a depth of meaning behind it, but deep listening, deep contemplation, and really with that, you know, connecting with what's around you, with the bird's song, with leaves dancing on a tree, and just with being able to be really aware of the beauty and magic that is everywhere around us, and that innate connection that we have as natural humans, that we come from the earth and we go back into the earth. So if you can, just get yourself comfortable. And what we'll do before we do a Dadirri, we're going to bring some balance into the breath. So really simple tool for anyone to do, especially if you're feeling at a point in your day, if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling a little bit depressed. This is just a really simple tool that you can just bring yourself back into this moment right now in the present. So first of all, just get yourself comfy wherever you're sitting and take a deep breath if you can in through your nose. And then a deep breath out through your mouth. Just clearing it out. Take one more like that, inhaling. And with that, as you exhale, just releasing anything from your day that no longer serves you. And then what we're going to do is the 4-by-4 ratio. So we're going to inhale for the count of 4 and exhale for the count of 4. If that's too long for you, you can make the ratio 3, 3. Or if you want to extend it, you can bring it up to 5, 5. So let's all take an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue this in your own mind. Whenever our inhalation is shorter than our exhalation, this can lead us to anxiety, meaning we're living in the future. And likewise, if our exhale is shorter than our inhale, it can lead to depression, meaning that we're living in the past. So to really anchor yourself right here in the moment with the one thing in the autonomous body that you can control is your breath, and just allowing us to access our parasympathetic nervous system. So when we're in our sympathetic nervous system, we're in the fight or flight, which would serve us maybe if we're out hunting, we need to catch an animal quickly. We need that for survival. But when that's switched on in our day all of the time, and we've got all this cortisol running through the body, our rest and rejuvenational part of ourselves starts to get lost. So just if you're still with that breath, take another one here. And exhaling completely. And then just start to observe. Just start to observe the temperature of the room that you're in. Start to observe the connection that you have down into the earth. Start to observe any sounds that you can hear. Maybe from where you are, you can hear some birds. It's raining here where we are. Maybe if you can just start to listen to the nature outside. But if there's nothing you can hear outside, then you come back to the nature that you can hear inside. Maybe you can start to notice your heart beating. And that sound of the heart is that very first sound that you heard when you were in your mother's womb. And she heard in her mother's womb where you were in her womb already, listening to your grandmother's heartbeat. And then just start to bring your awareness back to your breath, noticing maybe any tiny sensations at the nose, the upper lip. Every moment of the day we have a different sensation all over the body. It's just we're not sensitive necessarily enough to feel it. And taking a few more breaths here, just to savor this peace, this serenity, and to this awareness that perhaps you've tapped into a little bit more. I highly recommend you looking up Miriam Rose and listening to her beautiful video that she has and has shared. And then just start to crack open the eyes. And I always think that everything looks a lot more colorful when we've had that visual distraction taken away from us, so stimulated by our screens. And here we are speaking into a screen. And so with that, if we were together, I would have us all sat in a circle. And when we come and we sit in circle in corroboree, we do this so that no one is in front and no one is behind. So we're all equal. And then it's said that from there, our ancestors can sit around us. And so I've learned that our great grandparents then become our children. And so we have this long lineage around us, always there supporting us, always sort of guiding us. So when you meet someone, you're also meeting their ancestors and that impact that their ancestors have had on them and their surroundings. And so when we care for people, really it's about looking at them in a holistic way. You know, maybe our health isn't so great on the physical, and then we have to go and then look at what's happening on the emotional and the spiritual, and looking at it from a more holistic approach is what I'm quite passionate about. So I just brought something I found at Bronte. So I live in Bundi, which is the sound of the sea at Bondi Beach. So I'm a freshwater woman by my ancestors, because I come from Parks. My mum comes from Parks and my dad comes from Dubbo. But I've always lived near the salt water, so I kind of feel like, I don't know, I feel more connected to the salt water. And I found this, it's like red ochre that I found in the bogey hole at Bronte. And traditionally we would use red ochre in rites of passage, when, you know, you're coming of age, or women's business. Obviously women, they go and they gather together, and it's very sacred, so much so that a lot of it is kept really sacred. And then, you know, in men's business, men go, and the red is used for the initiation, maybe when the men become men and they start to hunt, the women when they're able to have children, and then they're able to then go and get married. And I was chatting with Drew, was here the other day, and he's so interesting to really lean into the depths of kinship and who you can marry, and how the songlines dictate who you marry. And it's you know, it's important to keep that conversation alive, because as we've all been so greatly displaced, you know, it's interesting to learn as much as we can about the kinship. And so I connect with the whale dreaming, which is near where I live. So we have the whale songline that runs all along the coast. So perhaps for you, maybe you could have a little look into where you are and what animal is connected to that area. We have like one sort of main animal in one area, but there could be like 5 main animals in that area. And then each person will have their own sort of unique dreaming or animal that that we are connected with, depending on where you are. I've learned in my country it's from the father. He might be out walkabout and he'll have a baby animal approach him, and that's a symbol to tell him that a child's coming. And that child, he already knows, is going to be, you know, the dreaming of a kangaroo or whatever that was that came to him. Other areas, it might be more so the mother who's pregnant, and the symbol of a animal coming to her. Before we started this session, I saw a rainbow outside, and when we see rainbow is like, you know, it's like the rainbow serpent, right? The rainbow serpent shows itself with the sun and the water, and so that new beginnings and new songlines are also said to being formed right now. but I guess what I'm saying is this symbolism that we still can really access today. You know, if you're outside and like an animal comes to you, look at that deeper meaning of that animal. And, you know, I think children, and also I feel like grandparents organically just do that and see that magic in the nature that's around them. Beautiful. As you can see in the chats, we've asked you if you have any questions. You can just email them to Katrina. And this is the first one we're doing of these webinars, but we'll do more depending on what it is you'd like to know more of. I could keep talking. I had one more thing I wanted to show. You've got them over there, the clap sticks. So I just brought some clap sticks. And usually there's one that is bigger than the other. That's a male and one's a female. These ones are made of mulga wood. And I was just saying before, it's quite, they're new. So that the mulga, when it's aged, it goes really dark. But the mulga wood is really strong wood. I got given these by an elder, Graham Morgan, from Wabikal country. He was a father at a school I went to, and he came with all these things, all these beautiful kulamons and kalis and boomerangs, and he, you know, would work in a factory by night, and this was a passion of his. And I was like, oh, you could do, you know, you could make these tools, and you could make like lunch boxes out of mulga wood. How cool would that be? While we're in Plastic Free July, it's interesting to sort of lean into all of our Indigenous cultures and what we did before we had plastic, and how we can start to maybe reimagine how that can look like. But yeah, these are some clap sticks. I don't know if you guys know the song Inane Kapawana. Does anyone know that song? Maybe I could finish with a song. I'm not a singer, but you know, it's a Tuesday and it's raining. Inane Kapawana, Inane Kapawana, eh, 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 ula, 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 eh, eh, Guna, 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 guna. Guna, 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 guna. That's a good one. You can always look that one up. Kids love that song. I know Guna in different languages means different things, but in this song it means little animal. Talking to the children, we call them little animals. Jar-joms is the way we say it here. Wuramai can be hello in Gadigal. There's other ways of saying it. Yeah, so language is something really important and something I'd love to learn more of, because I feel like with the English language, like the word spell, it kind of holds a bit of a spell over us, whereas when we look at Indigenous languages, it's of such a beautiful vibration. Yay, I feel complete. Thank you for being here and coming and spending your time here this afternoon with us. I'm gonna pass on the talking stick to, you want to go next?
Okay, yeah, let's get tips. We just got to do thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
So, our next